Good morning. Thanks for being with us. It is a huge day, a difficult day ahead as well for the Prime Minister. The question of what he knew and when about the appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the US will again be under the spotlight.
That's because at 9 a.m. we'll hear from Sir Olly Robbins, the sacked head of the Foreign Office Civil Service that Keir Starmer is blaming for keeping him in the dark. He'll be giving evidence to the Foreign Affairs Committee. Well, yesterday, the Prime Minister denied misleading the House of Commons, saying he'd not have appointed Lord Mandelson if he'd known he failed security vetting.
There's a lot to unpack here. There's three key questions, I think, that need to be addressed. So just to run you through some of them and what we're expecting from Olly Robbins. The first is, I guess, the process of the vetting. Who saw the security vetting and when? We're expecting Olly Robbins to say that he didn't tell Keir Starmer, but he's also likely to say that he didn't see the formal recommendation either, but was just given a verbal briefing. Really, though, I think this is actually the key point here. Internal pressure. Was there pressure on the appointment? Did Olly Robbins feel that it was all happening in an atmosphere where the decision could not be unpicked? And that is partly because of this timing. The appointment had already been announced. And as Sam Coates revealed on Sky yesterday, the Prime Minister was advised that with a political appointment like this guy, like Lord Mandelson, as in not a civil servant who'd already gone some kind of vetting, they should do the vetting before making the announcement, which he didn't do. Here's Keir Starmer.
The Foreign Office officials who made that decision did not pass this information to me, to the Foreign Secretary, to her predecessor, the Deputy Prime Minister, to any other minister, or even to the former Cabinet Secretary, Sir Chris Wormald. I found this staggering.
Knowing Peter Mandelson's history, going back now 30 years, and given what has been known, it's one thing to say, as he insists on saying, nobody told me. Nobody told me anything. Nobody told me. The question is, why didn't the Prime Minister ask?
Let's bring in our correspondent, Rob Powell. Rob, all eyes obviously on Olly Robbins, 9 a.m. So it's going to be, really box office viewing, and we're building up to that. He's a civil servant. Typically, they kind of toe the party line. They don't get involved in the politics. Are we expecting that, or has he got an axe to grind?
Yeah, I think he'll be in this to defend himself. And I think what he's going to do is try and really retell the story of this whole fiasco. I think when it comes to the process of the vetting, he's going to say that this is about a recommendation coming to him. It's not a black and white thing. And then he put safeguards in place to try and offset the risks that were flagged. I think like a helpful way to think about this argument that we're probably going to get from Olly Robbins is if you want to rent your house out to someone, you'll go and do referencing checks and credit checks and things like that. They all come back with a load of warnings saying, basically, don't give your house to this person. You can still go ahead and do it. It's your choice. You can put mitigation, safeguards in place, ask for more rent in advance, but it's your judgment, basically. And I think to sort of expand this analogy, you might think if the tenant that you're wanting to give your house to has already been kicked out of a couple of previous places and is quite well known for not always following the rules, you could probably advance the argument that you might not even need a referencing agency or a credit checking agency to tell you that you probably shouldn't be giving your house to this person. Now, I don't think Olly Robbins will be as blunt as that, but I think that is the argument he is going to be hinting at, that the decision had been made, it had even been announced publicly, and that as a civil servant, in the face of this political decision being made, it was his job to make it happen, not to stand in the way of it.
I guess this is the thing, isn't it? Because if you think about it, it's not like the vetting process necessarily, and we haven't seen, obviously, but uncovered things that weren't known. He'd been sacked twice before. He had a relationship with a convicted paedophile, and he had a lobbying company with links to Chinese companies. So, it'd been done, it'd been announced.
It's going to be interesting to see whether he is able to go into any of the details about why the vetting check failed. I mean, there's our colleague Sam has been reporting that he may not have even actually seen the vetting report. He was only verbally told it. But, if he could come out and say, look, it failed because of these reasons, and those reasons were actually in the report that went to the Prime Minister around due diligence from the Cabinet Office, then he can precisely make that argument that he believed that the Prime Minister was aware of these risks. The vetting check basically flagged those risks in a more formal way, and that is why he put stuff in place to safeguard and to offset it. The other thing I'd say is it's not been missed by a few people this morning that a month before this vetting check was taking place, Keir Starmer had given a speech where he talked about the civil service, some elements of the civil service being comfortable in the tepid bath of managed decline. That whole argument being that when the Prime Minister makes a decision and pulls a lever, for some reason Whitehall doesn't allow it to happen. Something goes wrong. Olly Robbins was pretty fresh in this job by then, and the speculation is basically that his belief was that this decision had been made, it could not be unpicked, and rather than being the kind of Sir Humphrey coming in and saying, well, actually, I think you'll find that you can't employ him because of this, he had to make it happen because that was what the political masters wanted.